Okay, next is U mode. Look up Christopher Bevington Bailey or Rovo's weave stuff to get a bigger look at this. So this is that stuff that Alexander Nachovsky is so good at. And so I call this U mode because it's hanging off of my hand in this U shape. So anything between this 90 degree and them actually being like same time, same direction heads, like any of that is U. And the reason being is that if I had these perpendicular or like totally straight, then when they intersect, you can't pass the ropes through one another, so there is really no weave that can take place unless you're able to pass them by each other when they're totally parallel. So then by having them both in the U mode, you can have one, or you can have each meteor on its own half of the unit circle so that you can weave them through one another. Chris used the idea that, or follows the idea that just like how we're talking about that, like your atomic meteor, atomic butterfly state can effectively account for anything that you could do with two poi in two hands. The way that Chris looks at it is through his weave theory is that I can basically consider my pinky side of my right hand to be my right hand, and my thumb side of my right hand to equivocally be my left hand. And so I can still do 2-beat weaves and 3-beat weaves and 4-beat weaves, like, and all that fun stuff all in one hand. But then you can also get into thumb led or pinky led different weaves that change up how the whole structure is working, and that goes a really long way into understanding how these get structured as you're working through the different weaves and fountains. Is what effectively ends up being like a this versus this orientation versus this, because how you follow the thumb and pinky sides is going to change the dynamic of that U weave pretty dramatically. So same thing goes that having like a thumb or pinky lead in the weave, that there's a thumb and pinky lead in for the butterfly, and I just think of that as like thumb up and thumb down. So if thumb down is pinky lead, then thumb up is thumb lead, right? And the thing about this and why it's important, at least to me lately, is that if I am starting in a wall plane butterfly here, and I want to go to the back, like my back plane, and get from my front wall to my back wall, then I'm going to have to put it all the way through, and by the time that I get here, I've added a half twist, and I'm now in pinky lead. So switch like this in pinky lead, which I need to practice this, but then if I turn around, I'm in pinky lead, and if I throw it back over my head, I'm back in thumb lead. And so technically there's like a flower here for my wheel plane where I can go pinky lead, thumb lead, right? Pinky, thumb. I don't have the top one very well yet. Part of that has to do with like the hand switch that has to happen from here to here to then bring it back under. But if I turn through it, it works perfectly fine. So that pinky and thumb also follows the this thing, and that is how I've been structuring this relationship, which is using the inside pocket or that like buzzsaw space and saying like, okay, I've got my pinky and my thumb inside, I have both pinkies inside, I have both thumbs inside, and that doesn't matter what plane I do it in, as long as I keep track of what relationship my thumbs are to one another.